I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, and I make videos about ham radio. My channel, David Kassler, it's the official title, actually titled Ham Radio Answers, provides introductions to all sorts of stuff of interest to amateur radio operators. And what I'd like to do with this video is just talk a little bit about a particular tool that I use to make the videos. The tool is CyberLink PowerDirector, and I've been using PowerDirector now for quite a few years. I picked it up at PowerDirector 9, and they have just recently released PowerDirector 16. So this video will explore just a little bit about PowerDirector 16, some of the new features that it has, well, let's just keep it to a review instead of a tutorial. But the bottom line is this: I love PowerDirector. CyberLink PowerDirector is, in my opinion, the perfect match for me and the kind of videos that I make. There is nothing that I have wanted to do in PowerDirector that I have not been able to do in PowerDirector because of shortcoming or anything like that. One of the reasons that well, in fact, the primary reason that I went to PowerDirector 9 originally was because of a competitor's stability problems. It just kept crashing on me. So I'm pleased to say that PowerDirector 16 is very stable, very nice product. I would place PowerDirector 16 as kind of a top-of-the-line consumer video editor, or maybe you might say a middle-of-the-road editor for the prosumer, and probably not something you'd consider making a Hollywood motion picture out of. You'd go to Adobe or Final Cut Pro or something like that to make a motion picture. I'm not making motion pictures. I'm making YouTube videos. And this particular tool is just perfect for me. So let's just take a look at what's available in the editor, what you can do with it, and so on. Let's take a look at the CyberLink website. The website is at cyberlink.com. cyberlink.com, and they have quite a few products. If you go under the products, they have a bunch of products in here. The one we're interested in is under video editing, and PowerDirector is the one that we want to look at. This is their powerful video editor tool that we want to see about. Okay, now if we go to PowerDirector, the key thing to note down here is this rectangle. Okay, Ultra, which sounds like, oh man, this has got to have everything, is actually the entry-level tool. It's $100. Later in the year they'll discount it, but the new PowerDirector comes out about this time of the year every year, and this is now PowerDirector 16. The Ultimate is the next step up. The Ultimate Suite goes one more step up, and then the Director Suite goes up even more. Again, Ultra, Ultimate, Ultimate Suite, and then Director Suite. Now the thing about Director Suite, which contains everything for the video editing, is it's available two ways. Lifetime license, meaning a license in perpetuity, which is the way we're used to buying software, $270 right here. However, you can buy it as a subscription. Now the subscription is $100 a year, and considering that they upgrade every year, this is a very good plan right here. Rather than paying $270, you can get it for $100 a year, which is pretty good. Also, plus you can start out a quarterly plan if you like, and there is a free trial that you can use to do this. Okay, let's look at the comparison. Here's the comparison right here of the different PowerDirector versions. Ultra, Ultimate. This is just a combo, PowerDirector and PhotoDirector. the Ultimate Suite and then Director Suite. By the way, if I had to make a suggestion as to which one of these you would get, it'd be the Director Suite, and I'll tell you why a little bit later. I use Director Suite right now for making the videos for Ask Dave. Okay, so PowerDirector 16, here's the prices. The Photo Director is included here or here. Okay, Photo Director is a little bit like Adobe Photoshop, and it has a learning curve associated with it, as does all high-power software. Audio Director will do lots of things. Frankly, I use Audacity for this for the very simple reason that I know how to use Audacity, and I haven't really delved into Audio Director 8. Now, Color Director is interesting here because you can do anything with the colors. This is a color grading level of color design tool, down to and including the fact that you can put in a color lookup table in here, just like the pros do, and that's up here at the Ultimate Suite level. Now, CyberLink Cloud Service will allow you to store some video stuff up online. I warn you that 50 gigabytes when you're dealing with videos is not very much. What I do is I edit on my PC and store my edits on a separate hard drive where all my data and stuff is in there, and I will tell you I'm way beyond 50 gigabytes in a year. Okay, so now the effects and templates, this is where the big differences are, okay? These are templates that you can use for a variety of things, a content pack, different things like that. These will include effects, like if you're doing a wedding, you can get a lacy background or something like that. And they're included really some in here, and in here. Now, I will tell you that when you get into like the new Blue Video Essentials 7, which I do use because it has a wonderful scope tool in it, you've got to go into the higher version. I have noticed that the difference between Ultimate Suite and Director Suite is not just $20, and it's not just the fact that it includes Photo Director, but in fact you do get a few more templates in there. Now let's look at what's new. Content Pack Premium is new, Travel Pack. These are giving you templates and widgets and gadgets and stuff to make videos. I don't use much of those. Now the new Boris, these are new. Boris FX Film, stylized lights, and image restoration, okay, end up being very powerful tools. CyberLink has backed off a little bit on the new Blue. They show a few things in here, including the titler, which you can do just about anything in, including 3D type effects. I use the new Blue, a couple of them, pretty extensively. I do my green screen in new Blue Video Essentials 1. There is a tool in there that allows green screen. It's very intuitive, very effective. I like it better than the built-in native effect. Now, the ProDad is another set of things you can do. One of them is involving some very exotic titles. So this is the set of stuff here that allows you to do really exotic stuff. Now, the problem, of course, with exotic stuff is that it can be very distracting to viewers if you put too much of that in. Use it lightly. For example, in terms of transitions, I would suggest just simple fades. Okay, now this is apparently a big deal thing, 360-degree video editing. These are the cameras that can see all the way around you, and they've added some additional tools. They started supporting it, I think, last year. And stabilizers, titles, I don't know what a little planet effect is, but this is the kind of camera you can see all the way around. it requires a headset, stereo viewing headset or game headset or something like that where you can see in 3D. You can't just project these kinds of things on a wall. And I guess they must be all the rage, because I know the New York Times puts out a 360-degree video every day. Okay, the Action Camera Center, think GoPro, okay? They have the ability to deal with this GoPro type video to do lots of interesting things. Video stabilizer would be one of the more important ones, because the GoPro video, and I speak from experience, tends to jump around quite a bit. Now, also the GoPros are extremely wide-angle lens. You can correct for that in your tool. Now, some of the design tools they're talking about, new video collage designer. That means multiple videos up on the screen at the same time in some, way they're divided. Masks are things that block certain elements of a video clip. All other things. Motion tracking is quite interesting, because that way you can, like, if you want to put a circle around a guy's head while they're doing something in the middle of a bunch of other people, you can follow it with that. And you can design your own transitions, although I would, again, suggest keeping those very simple. Themes, menus, titles, picture-in-picture is what PIP stands for. Now, the multicam designer is very important. If you shoot a scene with multiple cameras running at the same time, you can use the multicam designer to put all those up together. It will sync them up for you, and you can then switch back and forth between which camera you want. And all of that switching back and forth is fully editable. And I use the multicam designer relatively frequently, I guess once every couple months. And it's very nice, like for interviews. I've got a video coming up very soon that has an interview, and you can switch back and forth between cameras. Now, the multicam, one of the things that I have noticed as a problem in the past is you have to pick one thing to provide the audio synchronization. And it might be that the camera that you have on person A gets better person A audio than a camera you have on person B gets better person B audio. And it used to be you had to select one track. There was a way of getting around that. You could not use the multicam designer, go into the regular timeline, and then you could produce an audio-only track that would combine them, and then you'd bring that back in. I just did that recently. It's nice to see they've got an update for that. Now, in video editing and so on, again, the color match, the lookup table. A lookup table is a very sophisticated Hollywood tool for creating color grading. If you've noticed, every motion picture these days doesn't have beautiful full color sunny images. They have a color grade to them that helps set the theme. And this will support that, but it provides a little bit more support for the lookup table. But the problem, of course, is actually creating the lookup table. So high dynamic range is what HDR tends to bring out things in the shadows and keep the highlights from blowing out. Audio ducking simply means that if you've got background music and a person starts talking, it'll duck down the background music so you can hear the person better, and then it will come up again after the person stops talking. Now, these are some of the things that it's always had in it for a few years anyway. It will import vertical video. This is that horrid thing when people shoot with their cameras and they shoot vertically, which is really, really hard to show since almost all screens are horizontal. 120 and 240 frames per second high rate video, that's great, but I would point out that the human eye can't see much more than 24 frames per second, which is why that's what Hollywood uses. And in fact, I render my videos at 24 frames per second. Simple projects, video effects and titles. Chroma key, there is a native capability for chroma key. 100 track timeline. There's no way you're going to fill up 100 tracks. Content aware editing is a feature I don't use, but basically it picks the parts out of a video clip where somebody's doing something. Different color enhancements. The stabilizer is a very important one for hand shot footage. Okay, so down under performance, it's they're very proud of their rendering algorithms as being quite fast, and they do that. They take advantage of anything that you've got. For example, a Core i7, which my laptop has, it takes advantage of that. And we'll take advantage of graphics cards for the rendering. Rendering video is a very compute-intensive process. Okay, format support. They've added .mov in here. That's an Apple format. Almost everything I've ever tried to ingest in here, I can ingest without a problem. You can mix and match stuff that's different formats and stuff, and it will do it, although they warn you against doing that too much. You can do DVDs, Blu-rays, and AVC HD discs, and so on. So these are the different things that you can get. Again, I would point you over here at the Director Suite. Yeah, it's more expensive than the Ultra, but it provides stuff that is definitely first-rate kinds of things. Okay, now let's go take a look at the video editor itself. We're looking here at the actual editing screen for PowerDirector. There are 4 basic types of things you can do up here. You can capture video in a variety of ways. Let's take a look at that. Okay, the one that's important, of course, is the webcam, which you've got right here. And you can also record like from the old HDV camcorders and DV camcorders and so on. You can also record just audio. Over here you can capture it from some external device, and over here you can actually do a screen capture. I'm not using the screen capture feature right now, but because it would be kind of circular, it's taking pictures of itself. Anyway, you can start recording by pressing this and then stop recording when doing this. Now, if you capture one, boy, okay, it will show captured content over here. For example, you can play this and see what you've got. If you had a better webcam, it would look better, okay? And you can choose where the sound comes from and so on, okay? Now, if we go over to the edit, it will likely have added that little recorded piece. Okay, this is your basic edit screen. Now, PowerDirector is built around a concept of rooms. And the rooms are your media room right up here, okay, where if you put it up here, you can actually play the clip and see what you want to do. You might want to, you know, run it back and forth, say, hey, is this the clip that I want, and so on. Inside here where the okay, and so in your media room, you've got all the different clips. What I did was I pulled into this a previous Ask Dave video that was done on an earlier version of PowerDirector. And so just to show that it's backwards compatible. Not 100%, but it is backwards compatible, okay? And there's a lot of stuff in here. The next room are the effects that you can put on it. I tend to use the new blue effects, but you can apply that on an effects. There's an effects line here in the timeline for that. This is the let's see, this is the PIP, picture-in-picture type thing, where you can put together, these are previously designed, put together several things in a video clip. Here's your particle generators. I don't use this, I really don't, except once in a blue moon. Here's something that's extremely interesting. This is your title editor, and you can take a title, create the title the way that you want it, and it has extensive abilities to pick various titles. Here's, for example, one I use with the Ask Dave videos, okay? And these you can overlay on other videos. I have lots of videos in here, so at this point in what I'm doing with Ask Dave, I don't really need to create any more titles. All the titles are adjustable. So let's pick this title down here, say. All right, I can go into select the title, okay, or double click on the title, and it will come up in the title designer. Works well on FM. Now over here you'll see that I can pick fonts. I can do all sorts of things with the font face and the shadows and the borders and character presets and all kinds of stuff. You can actually just put the text in right here for what you're doing. This is simpler than it was before. You can also play games down here with trimming. Although I use a different trimming technique. But you can just grab it and move it around wherever you may want it. And you can also save it as a template for further use, okay? And I'm just going to cancel this because I'm not going to change this. Now, by the way, the system does allow you, through the settings in here, to auto-save. Okay, with Project, you can auto-save a project every 10 minutes. And note where it's putting it. It's putting it in app data and roaming. This is kind of a weird location that's hard to get to for most people. So you may want to choose a different location to put your 10-minute backups in. And by the way, it can't do that unless you occasionally pause, so it has the time to pull a full backup of the file. What's stored is actually the project file contains a bunch of XML that tells the renderer what to do. Okay, so that's the titles room. Now here are your transitions from, clip A to clip B. There are just gobs and gobs and gobs of them that you can use. I would recommend that you go to the fade. A simple fade works best. You can change the amount of time that you want in there. I don't know why they have something called no effect. That's very strange. Okay. 3D like, where they'll, here's another one. This is an area where new video editors just go crazy with all these different effects, thinking it's really cool. Actually, they get very annoying very quickly, so that's why I'm suggesting simple transitions. By the way, the simplest transition is just a cut to something new. Okay, now we have down here the audio room, and it has a slider for every track that's down here. And as you can see, there are quite a few tracks in here. We have 5 tracks. So you can look at these, and if you want to completely kill the audio from one track, you can do that. But then you can't use that track for anything that has audio. So you can just go into the clip, right-click on the thing, and do mute clip if you want. Okay. You can also copy clips, move them around, all sorts of stuff that you can do. And then down here, this is a different voice recording. This is for voiceover. You can do it right here. While you're watching the video, you can do a voiceover of it. Very handy for slideshows. Okay, chapter rooms has to do with putting chapters in there for a DVD. A chapter is something like when you click the next track, you're actually clicking the next chapter. Okay, so those are the rooms. Now, they departed a little bit from the room concept with some new things they call designers. A multicam is the one where you can create a single track line here with from multiple sources as you switch between them. Now, once you put them down here on the track, you can still edit them. Now, the action track, I don't use this, of course, but what this does is allows you to do things to the various parts of it in terms of lens correction, a video stabilizer, white balance, color presets, effects like a time shift or freeze frame, things like that are available in the Action Camera Center. Actually, all of those effects are available anyway in different places. Okay, Express Project, very complete. That you can put something together very quickly. Screen recorder, I mentioned that before, is something that is in the capture area. Blending video collages and so on. There's also in here, you have color boards that you can use. These are good for backgrounds. They've got a variety of other backgrounds available. This is the one I use, except I've modified it down here. You'll see that it's got the OG, which is my channel logo, in there. You can create your own backgrounds and use them however you want to. For example, on this one right here, this has an effect of the chroma key. If I turn the chroma key off, you immediately see the background. If I turn the New Blue Video Tune-Up off, you can see that I had brightened up that video quite a bit. And one way to do that is with these scopes, like the waveform scope, and you put in a little tune here, and you get your scope back, waveform. Okay, you can do things like adjust the brightness to bring that up so that the brightest things are 100%. You can also hit the contrast here, keeping that down about there. Just does wonders for a video very, very, very quickly. Okay, so those are the things that are in there. You can also actually take another project. Say you have a project, which is the file for all your mods in here. You have a project that has your standard beginning. You can just drop it on the timeline here. Very handy. Okay, some of the things, these are tracks down here. You can, if you want, storyboard mode. Okay, storyboard mode is more like a Windows editor, Windows video editor. You can just drop clips, okay, and then they'll go sequentially. That's a very simple form of editing and one that you can do at any time. I prefer the timeline because you can actually stack things on top of each other. For example, we're going to stack this one, turn the New Blue Chroma, and I've picked that green that's back there, okay. Now I can also set it up so that this title right here appears between me and the background. So if I happen to cut it off, like I did right there, it doesn't put the title on me. It leaves the title up and behind. So the idea down here is you put your basic track here. This is the one that's rendered first. Then whatever in the next track is layered on top of it. Okay, and then this one is layered on top of that. And then this audio right here, the audio tracks are just all combined. So I had this audio turned off because it was taken from the camera that's far away. I have this audio turned on, which is this little microphone right here on my collar, same microphone I'm using right now. You can put pictures on top, like that DMR picture that's shown there. You can put titles in here, all kinds of things that you can do. There is a music room for background music down here, a voiceover, and a text area. You don't have to use those. You can use any track to put this stuff in that you want, because each track is split into video and audio, and each can be handled separately. This right here is a track that's out of the camera, straight out of the camera, that has been enhanced. The audio has been turned off because I want to use the audio from the little lapel mic right there. Okay, so lots that you can do here. You can take snapshots of a screen and it will save that as a JPEG. Okay, and you can also use a second screen if you want to see the thing bigger. Or just if you want to just kind of take a little bit closer look at something, you can do that. And this will push it back up where it belongs. And you can move the different sizes of the fields around. See if we can find that one. Okay, to give us more view of this, you can change the width of the tracks. There's no real reason to look at that audio. So you can make the thing fit the screen a little bit better. Now let's look at produce. Okay, this is the third major area. Produce is what anybody else would call rendering. Standard 2D, the system does 3D. They make a big deal a few years back out of 3D. Well, the capabilities are all there. You can render for a device. You can render for online, although for my YouTube, I prefer to just do a standard edit. And these are the different types of things you can do. H.264 AVC is kind of the current one. There's talk about going to H.265, but I don't like the results as well. Here is where you can create an audio file that's just the audio from your video. For example, if you created a video podcast and you want just the audio from it to create an audio podcast, you can take the audio out here. It'll just put the audio in whatever file you want. Now, here we've got this selected. You've got how do you want to package the thing? M2TS, which is AVC HD, MP4, which I use. There are several different profiles you can pick. I have a custom profile. Let's see if it'll pick up on it. No, it doesn't. I use it in an earlier version. Here you can pick the different ways that you can do these MP4s. So if we look at the full HD 1920 by 1080, you've got a choice between 120p, 30p, and 24p, and I pick 24p because it seems to portray well. Now you can do some modifications to it, like the bit rate about 5,000. Okay, we just created a custom profile in doing that. The reason I dropped the bit rate is because any more bit rate on YouTube doesn't do anything. The fast video rendering technology, might as well check. And I don't need surround sound, which you can do. I don't want to upload a copy to CyberLink Cloud. I do want to see it while it is producing. Now, this won't take much to produce because it's just got a clip in there. Let's see what happens when we produce that. Okay, now that was just, let's start it down here. When you go to produce, of course, you're not going to get any sound because the thing is producing a little slower than reality. And it will give you some statistics down here so you can see it. Note that you can see it much more clearly in here than you would. Note also that that new blue effect that I rely on for grading the video is crossed out because in this version I haven't moved my version of that particular new blue function over there. Now there's one more room I didn't show, and it's the one that you use to cut discs like DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever. Because computers are not coming with the optical readers anymore, it is possible to use that. You can play the DVDs in your TV if you like to do that. Note that when you go to a DVD, you really lose a lot of quality. The DVD quality is nowhere near as good as the HD, but finding a Blu-ray DVD burner is well nigh unto impossible these days. They do exist, but Blu-ray as a format is not taking off because what's happening right now is that all the action is in the downloading, the streaming of videos, like YouTube. YouTube streams the videos, and when you stream them, you can get full HD. Some videos are actually in 4K. But I will tell you that the movement these days is to view videos on cell phones or mobile devices, okay? And in those, if you're viewing it on an iPad, you can, with the Retina screen, you can get absolutely beautiful quality. If you're viewing it even on like my iPhone with the Retina screen, it's pretty buddy. It's pretty doggone small. So you need to make sure that if you render it so everybody can use it, so that means your titles have to be big, your characters have to be big on the screen, and so on. So there is a very, well, it's not brief. I'm not brief. I'm never brief. An overview of PowerDirector 16. I would suggest again that if you're going to buy it, when you buy PowerDirector, you're serious about editing, okay? And granted, it's an amateur editor, but it is very full-featured, and there can be quite a steep learning curve. I started out using, there are several different ways to trim video clips, and I've hit on one that I like. You can just go on the timeline and just pull the ends in where you want them. Or you can do that in a tool that they provide for that. So there are multiple ways of doing things. There is an instruction manual that you want to go onto the PowerDirector site and download. And that instructor manual has been growing. The person who writes it, I've exchanged emails with him, is a native English speaker. And so the manual actually makes sense here. This product that I'm talking about, CyberLink, is a Taiwanese company. And their aim specifically is at the amateur and prosumer market. If you're a wedding photographer, this is a great tool for you. But again, as I said, if you're going to do a feature-length film, you probably want to look at Adobe or Final Cut Pro or several other tools that are very expensive. That would be hard. Now, again, if you use the subscription method, you get the downloaded updates automatically, okay? And every time that they go to a new version, you get that. So this is something you really want to consider when you go for it. I would suggest, if you think this is what you want, use the trial version, give it a try. You're going to discover this thing has more tricks than a magician. So, do I recommend this particular video editor? The answer is an unqualified yes, I do. Yes, it has a few little interesting tweaks in it, and I know that in future versions they'll fix some of the things that make it fully compatible with the latest Windows 10 and so on. So there you go. If you have comments or have questions about this, please write a comment. Also, I ask you to click like on this. This helps me in dealing with YouTube. And also you can subscribe if you like ham radio videos. That's what this channel is all about. So I'm going to say 73 to you. That's ham radio speak for best wishes. And we'll see you next time.